Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our next matchup for 173. In this matchup, we have the current bantamweight Muay Thai champion in Nabil Anane taking on Hiromi Watanabe. He Anane is 45-1 as a professional, while Watanabe is 22-6 as a professional. Important note, this is going to be a kickboxing match. Originally, Anane was supposed to defend his title against the current bantamweight kickboxing world champion, John Haggerty, in a battle of, a battle of a former champion versus the current champion and for two sport glory. Unfortunately, Haggerty got injured, so stepping on short notice is Watanabe has stepped in to take on Anane, but instead of a Muay Thai bout, it has been changed to a kickboxing bout. Now, for Watanabe, he's a well-traveled veteran as well. He's competed in K1 as the former super welterweight champion. And meanwhile, Anane is riding an absolute hot streak right now. Only 21, understand this, 21, just got off the biggest win I think that's possible for him, defeating Superlek and becoming the undisputed champion. Now, I'll talk more about that fight when I get to Superlek's fight, but basically Superlek was the bantamweight Muay Thai champion. He unfortunately missed weight, so the fight became a catchweight bout with the title not on the line, but eventually Anane, who was the interim champion at the time, was promoted to the undisputed champion. And before that, he won that interim title over the King of the North, Nora Cornorle. I apologize for butchering these names. I apologize, man. I'm trying so hard to pronounce them right. I apologize. But Anane ran him over too. And the way he beat Superlek, it looks like Anane is going to be a problem for years. Now, looking at Anane, he is a physical freak. He fights at the bantamweight division, which for one is 145 pounds. He is 6'4" and hits with knockout power. At this weight class, he is bigger than basically everybody. And most of Anane's opponents at best are eye to chest level with him. And he uses his height and reach to great effect. Now, you would think someone with that giant of a height and reach advantage over most of his opponents would mostly fight on the outside, and you would be correct. Anane mostly fights on the outside. He has a sniper like 1-2, great intercepting knees, which oftentimes are, he lifts them high enough to hit the chin more than the like solar plexus or diaphragm, whatever you want to call it, the chest. But Anane is also very good in close range, coming in with intercepting elbows, like I said, intercepting knees. And it's similar to how when I talk about like tall, lanky grapplers, like it's kind of like a spider draped over you. It's basically like that for Anane in the clinch, as he literally just towers over his foes and is able to put his whole body weight into kind of pressing against his foes and forcing them to be unbalanced. Another thing Anane is done very well is his head kicks. He can literally kick over most of his opponent's guard and hit him right in the head. As often as you can kind of see, he kind of throws like a question mark kick for those types of kicks, where he'll throw like a traditional like head kick, change the angle, and go for the downward question mark kick. But like I said, because of the height and reach he has over his foes, he's literally just kicking over their guard and hitting his opponents in the head. Anane is one of those fighters that's able to mix the physical gifts he's been given, knows what their strengths are, and uses them to great effect, and even is able to shore up some of the deficiencies you would think he have, like, pressure fighters, not giving Anane any room to breathe, and trying to cut the distance as much as possible. Anane has done a great job of shoring up those deficiencies, whether that's with his boxing, especially that precision 1-2 he has, or being able to just fire kicks from basically half the ring away and make it make it so his opponents, even if they're going to close that distance, they basically have to go through a wood chipper in order to do so with those kicks and teeps in order to get even close. And then from there, Anane is so good at making his opponents pay once they get in close. Like I said, with those intercepting knees, with the ability to clinch, and then from there fire off his clinch strikes like his knees and elbows, and overall just keep good distance. And like I said, even though for having such a kind of skinny frame, he does not lack in knockout power whatsoever. In fact, he dropped super leg in their fight, which is no easy feat. Super leg very rarely gets dropped, let alone I've rarely seen super leg get knocked out, let alone dropped. So the fact that Anane was able to do that was quite impressive. You could see, like I said, I think that's where he put everything together, whether that was in close range, long range, it did not matter. Anane was able to shut down Superlek's game with the combination of power or reach and his ability to use the physical gifts given to him. Now for Watanabe, I feel like Watanabe is kind of a all momentum or nothing type of fighter. You can see in his wins when he's the one pressing forward, when he's the one who has his opponent hurt. First, he goes after them with great blitzing combinations, especially that left hook of his, which is probably his best weapon. And oftentimes, like a shark, when he's, once his opponent has been dropped, it's like, man, there's blood in the water and he's a shark. He goes after his opponents and never puts his foot on the gas. Conversely, though, when Watanabe is the one hurt, oftentimes he's not able to recover very well, and nor is he able to, I would say, be able to kind of bring the fight back to him. It's not so much even that he has a bad chin, I would say, as much as I think Watanabe kind of has a sort of shell-shocked effect to being dropped, and suddenly with that just being stunned, he's not able to, like I said, clinch. You can't in kickboxing anyway. Not having a good ability to use long range strikes to keep his opponents at bay like teeps, or just jabs / kicks to all levels. Overall, it's kind of like depends for Watanabe's how the momentum is riding. That's essentially how I see it. Like if he's able to start off fast and able to build momentum off that fast start, he generally wins the fight. If he's not, then it all kind of falls apart. Now, this is going to be interesting for Anane. This is going to be a second fight in kickboxing. He had one prior in September, which unfortunately ended in a no contest, as due to accidentally kicking his opponents very badly in the groin. But you could see in that fight, Anane did a pretty good job adjusting to the rules, not using his clinch, and also very good at leaning towards the ropes, kind of like a rope-a-dope. Because his head is so because he's so freakishly tall, and his opponents would have such trouble aiming for that head that's seemingly above the clouds. Anane is able to lean towards the ropes and create even more distance between him and his opponents in terms of distance striking. More specifically for his opponents trying to strike him. Now, if Watanabe is to have a path to victory, I would think it would be mostly being able to try and, like I said, close distance and attack the body on Anane. That's, I think, the best someone is going to have being Anane. Now, granted, Superlek in their first fight was able to knock him out, but that was Anane's debut. And, you got to think your debut is Superlek. Boy, that is a tough assignment for everybody on planet Earth. Or who fights in Muay Thai or kickboxing, doesn't matter. But you see, since then, Anane has not lost since that fight. Or that was his last loss, and that was way back in like 2020. Anane has improved tremendously. To a point where, like I said, I think he's going to rule over his Muay Thai or his division. And I think he can do great in kickboxing. I think Anane is going to rule over his division for years to come. You can quote me on that. So, honestly, for this fight, I don't see a path to victory for Watanabe. Watanabe doesn't even seem to have that good of a chin, as I've seen him get rocked and dropped numerous times. And oftentimes that all it takes is like one time for him to get dropped, and usually he loses the fight by knockout. And I think with the power, the precision, and the reach of Anane, I think he's going to get a knockout in this one. I'm picking Nabil in a way, and I'm going to pick him via knockout in this one. But with that being said, that's been my breakdown of this fight. If you liked the video, leave a comment and subscribe. Next up, we'll have Yuki Yuza taking on Superlek. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. Take care.